Hello and welcome back. It is lesson 3. We're looking in Saxon math here. It is unknown numbers in addition and unknown numbers in subtraction. What does that mean? Well, let's look at it quickly here. The quantity on either side of an equal sign is the same. So if you have 4 plus 5, that equals 9. They mean this, they are equal to each other. You have the add-ins, the 4 and the 5. When you add them together, you get the sum. This side of the equal sign equals this side of the equal sign. So everything on the left equals everything on the right on this in this instance because it says they are equal. It has to remain that way. A letter can take the place of an unknown number. So for example, if you have 4 plus x, it equals 9. What is x? Well, this is an unknown number in addition. See, it's addition and it's an unknown number. It's been labeled x. We know the number because we kind of know already that this sum minus this addend will equal the unknown. We kind of, it's just common knowledge at this point in 6th grade, but sometimes you may need to be reminded that. So if you've got a addend plus an addend equaling a sum, to find a missing addend, all you have to do is subtract the known addend from the sum. So for example, if you have 2 plus a, so the unknown is a, equals 5, you can convert that into 5 minus the known. So you have 5 minus 2 equaling a. Now you know what a equals. A equals 3. Or if you have b plus 3 equals 5, 5 minus 3 is going to give you the unknown value, and b is the label for this particular unknown value, and it equals 2. You can check your work by putting 2 in place of b. 2 plus 3 equals 5, and it works. You know that 2 plus 3 equals 5. If you are looking at a subtraction problem, you have your minuend that comes first. Let's say it's, I don't know, let me just do a 5. And then you have your subtractand, minus 2, equaling the difference. That's an equal sign. And then you would just look at the values that are missing. Let's say, for example, you're missing the subtractand, let's say it's s, equals 3. You just have to realize that in that case, finding the missing minuend, or in this case, the missing subtractand, you would subtract the difference from the minuend. So you would take the difference, which is the answer to a subtraction problem. This is the difference. And if you were to subtract that from this missing minuend, or sorry, from the minuend, you'll find out what the subtractand is. The minuend is the larger of the two typically. Doesn't have to be always. It's just the first of the two in a subtraction equation. And then the second one is the subtractand. So if you have 5 minus 3, you know that it's going to be 2, and that is the value. So if you take 5 minus 3 equals 2. Here's some examples. If you have n minus 3, so we're missing a minuend, and it equals 2, you can take that subtractand plus the difference to find out what the minuend is. So you can see that if you take 3 plus 2, you'll get 5. And if you check that, if you plug 5 in for the value, the missing value is 5, and you put it in the equation, the original equation, you have 5 minus 3 equaling 2, and that would be correct. Here's another example. If you have 5 minus y equals 2, that's simply this one, I guess. We've got 5 minus 2 equaling 3. So if you had 5 minus s equals 3, it's very close to the same kind of a problem. But in this case, it would be 5 minus the 2 equaling y. So you see it's a little bit different. It's not two addition problems. This one's an addition and this one's a subtraction problem. So if you're trying to find the missing subtractand, you have to subtract the difference from the minuend. So you need to know what those are. This minuend, subtractand, and difference is pretty important. All right, so if you're looking at this, you have, in this case, you have two addends, 4 and a 3, that equal the sum. If you were missing one of these, you could just say cover it up with your finger. You could probably find out how could you use the 7 and the 3 to find the number that's missing underneath if you were covering the 4. So for example, if we would to cover up, and let's do that. If we had this 4 covered up, how would you know what's missing there? Well, in this case, you would take the you could probably figure it out by taking 7 minus 3 to find out that it's 4. If you had covered up the 3 instead, you could take 7 minus 4 and you'll get 3. So it's just, it's basically doing an inverse operation. But you just notice that you can find the missing addend by subtracting the known addend from the sum. So here's an example here. We're missing this addend. We know that we have 12, we have 31 as a sum, so I'm going to just take 31 minus 12 to find the missing one. And if you've forgotten that this is what you should do, this is simply very similar to finding another, fact family. We could have m plus 12 equals 31. We could make that into 31 minus m equals 12, and we could have 31 minus 12 equaling m. So this is the fact families that you guys have been creating in the first two lessons anyway. But this is the only one. This is the winner. This is the only one that results with m being the final answer, giving us what m is worth, what's its value. So now I'm going to do that. I'm going to take 31 minus 12 to find out what the value of m is. And that looks like I have to borrow. So I'm going to take 10 from here. I'm going to move it over here. That makes this 11. 11 minus 2 is 9. And 2 minus 1 would end up being 1. So if I want to double check, and this is what m would be equal to. So m equals 19. If I want to just double check this, all I have to do is take 12 plus 19 and see if it'll add up to this 31. And here's 11. I'm going to carry the 1, and 1, 2, 3. Perfect. That is correct. All right, moving right along here. In example 2, find the number for n. So if you have 36 plus 17 plus 5 plus n equals 64, you need to find the value for n. First, we have to actually group these together and make one number out of these. 36 plus 17 plus 5, so I'm just going to do that. 36 plus 17 to begin with. I can add 5 in there too. I know that this is 13. 13 plus 5 would be 18. I know that this would be 5 right here. So that means I've got 58 plus n equals 64. So now I know all I need to do is take that 64 minus that 58. So 64 minus 58 to find out what n equals. So once I'm done with that, let's see, it looks like I got to borrow here. This turns into 14. 14 minus 8 is 6. So that means that n equals 6 in this case. And if I want to double check my work, I could take, looks like 58 plus 6. If I want to just double check that, 58 plus 6, and that would be 14, carry that, that'd be 64, perfect. So that means it's right. So just make sure that you group all three of those numbers together before you determine what n's value is. Looking at example 3, find the number for w. So if you have w minus 16 equals 24, remember this is the minuend, this is the subtractand, and this is the difference. So when we're looking at example 3 here, we find that the first number of the subtractand problem by adding the other two numbers. So these two numbers right here, because we're trying to find the minuend, and if it's a missing minuend, we have to add these two numbers together. And if you don't remember that, if you don't remember that it's a minuend, or that this is a subtractand, or this is the difference, you could make fact families out of this. You could say that w minus 24 equals 16. You could make an addition problem out of this. 24 plus 16 equals w. And you could also have 16 plus 24 equals w. So in that case, you end up having two problems that would work. You could use this one, or you could use this one. Whichever one you choose, doesn't matter. So if I'm going to do 24 plus 16, this is what I'd end up with for w. This would be 10, carry the 1, this would be 4. So that means w equals 40. I can double check my answer by just taking 40 minus 16, and this would be, borrow that, 10, this would be 4, this would be 24. 24 is the difference. So that means w does equal 40. All right, look at example 4 here. Find the number for y. So again, you have the minuend minus the subtractand equals the difference. But in this case, we're missing the subtractand. So to determine how to find the missing number, you could think of a simpler problem if you want to, just think of 5 minus 3 equals 2, and then cover up if you cover up like the 3 in this case, what would you do to find the different, or find this missing element here? Well, you would take 5 minus 2, right? So if you would take 5 minus 2 to get this one, that's what you have to do here. You have to take 236 minus 152 to find this missing subtractand. So 236 minus 152 will get you the missing value of y. Now, if you've forgotten that, you don't remember this is a subtractand, and you can't remember to, try a easier problem that's a no-brainer, you could create a fact family out of these. You could create another problem. This would be another subtraction problem, and then you could also do y plus 152 equals 236, and you could have 152 plus y equals 236. So you have a fact family, which is 4 equations basically that create the fact family. And there's only one of those that actually determines what y is. That's this one right here, 236 minus 152. So if I went ahead and did that, 236 minus 152, this would be 4. This one I have to borrow because this one is 3 and it's less than 5. So I'm going to make that 13. This would become 8. That means that y should be 84. And I want to double check that. all I need to do is 236 minus 84. And if it ends up being 152, then that is the correct answer. And here we've got 2. I'm going to borrow 1 here. This turns into 13. This would be 5. And that would be 1 minus nothing, 152. That means y is equal to 84. All right, so let's go ahead and try that. So give me the answer for A. What is the value of A? A plus 12 equaling 45. If you have two add-ins, all you have to do is remember for this one, for A, I'm going to take 12 plus 45 to find the missing value of A. So that would be 7. This would be 57. So letter A is A equals 57. Let's do letter B right here. If you have 32 plus B equals 60, go ahead and answer that. All right, and this is what it would look like. So if you have 32 plus 60, why am I adding it? Because these are two add-ins that equal a sum. So if I have a missing add-in, it's an addition problem. I just need to find that these two values that I already know, the 32 and the 60, when I add those together, it will determine excuse me, sorry. Let me walk this back. I gotta go backwards. I don't know what I was thinking. Thanks for pointing that out. So if I have, in this case, I have to subtract. I don't know what I was thinking there. I have two add-ins. If I have two add-ins and I have a sum, I have to take that sum minus the known add-in, and I would get 3. In this case, 3. So A would equal 33. And if I want to double check my work, I just take 33 plus the 12 that was in there. And that should end up adding to 45, which it does. So that means for letter A, it should have been 33. Okay. This one, letter B, let me just go back and let's do this in a different color. Let me just pick orange for this one. So letter B, if you have 32 plus B equals 60, I need to take 60 minus the 32 to find out what that missing element is. This would be 10. So this would be 8, and that would be 2. So that means that B is 28. And I could check that by taking 28 plus 32, and it should equal 60. Okay. Letter C, it says C minus 15 equals 24. Go ahead and answer that. So if you have a minuend minus a subtractand equaling a difference, to find the minuend, you have to actually add these two together. This is the one where you have to add the two together. So if you have 15 plus 24, that's the same as, I can see 15 plus 24 equals 9 and 3. So that means C equals 39. And if I was to double check that, I just take 39 minus 15, and if it equals 24, then I'm on the right track. All right, let's do letter D right here. If you have 38 Oh, what's going on here? Calm down. 38 minus D equals 29. So I have the minuend minus the subtractand equals the difference. So just think about this. This is the largest amount. This is a smaller amount. But what would it take in order to determine this subtractand here? Well, in this case, I would have to take 38, and I need to also subtract 29 to find out what the other missing piece is. So I would borrow from here. That would be 2. This would turn into 18. 18 minus 9 is 9. And then this would be nothing left over. So in this case, D would equal 9. And if you want to double check your work, you just take 38 minus 9, and it should equal 29. Or you could take 29 plus 9, and it should equal 38. And they do. All right, let's do letter E. If you have E plus 24 equals 52, E plus 24 equals 52 means this number should be fairly close to this number to equal 52. So I'm going to subtract these. I need to take 52 minus 24 to find out the value that's missing. So the E value. So 52, let's see, I need to borrow. This would be 4. This turns into 12. This would be 8. And this would be 2. So that means E equals 28 in this case. All right, letter F. 29 plus F equals 70. Go ahead and answer that. So you should have, in this case, it would be 70. I'm going to have to take 70 and subtract the 29 to find out what's missing. So I'm going to borrow from this one. This will be 6. This will turn into 10. This will be 1, 41. So F should be 41. And if I want to double check it, 29 plus 41 is what I would do to check my work. And I would end up getting 10 here. That'd be 6, that'd be 70. Perfect. All right, let's do letter G. So if you have G minus 67 equals 43, go ahead and answer that. That should be, you need to add these two together. So you should have 67. So if I'm, let me just write G down here. 67 plus 43. This would end up being 10, carry that, and that would be 10. So that means G should equal 110. 110 minus 67 is 43. All right, let's do letter H right here. So if I have 80 minus H equals 36, that means I need to take 80 minus 36 to find out what H is. I have the minuend minus the subtractand equals the difference, and I'm missing the subtractand, so I need to take the minuend minus the difference. In this case, I'm going to borrow, so that becomes a 7, that becomes 10. 10 minus 6 is 4. 7 minus 3 is 4. So the answer to H, the value of H is 44. And then letter I need to add 36, 14, and 8. So I'm going to do that right now. 36, 14, and 8 before I can determine what the value of n is. I have to do those first. So that's 12 plus 6 makes 18. This would be 1 plus 3 plus 1 makes 5. So that means this piece is 58 plus n, which equals 75. So because it's 75, I have to take, in this case, it looks like 75 minus 58 to determine what that value is going to be. So 75 minus 58 would be 6 carried. This would be 15. 15 minus 8 is 7, and that would be 1. So n equals 17 in this case. And to double check my work, I'm just going to take 58 plus 17. And I'm going to get 15. This will be 75. And there it is, 75. So that means it works. All right, nice job. Excellent work today. I noticed it's kind of, the lesson went long, but it's worth the wait because you just got yourself a load of points for math. Good job, and we'll see you guys later